How to Start Learning English, a friendly guide for beginners. Hey there! I'm so excited you're here and ready to begin your English learning journey. You know what? I remember exactly how it feels to start learning a new language. It's like standing at the foot of a mountain, looking up, and thinking, wow, that's quite a climb. But don't worry, I'm here to walk this path with you, step by step, and make it fun along the way. Chapter 1. Taking your first steps into English. Let me tell you a quick story. Last year, I met Maria, a student from Brazil who was terrified of starting her English journey. She'd tell me, every time I try to speak English, my heart races, and I feel like everyone's judging me. Does this sound familiar? If you're feeling the same way, I want you to know something important. Every single English speaker you admire started exactly where you are right now. Why are you here? Before we dive in, let's take a moment to think about your why. You see, learning English isn't just about memorizing grammar rules or vocabulary lists, it's about opening doors to new opportunities, connecting with people around the world, and maybe even discovering a new version of yourself. Take out a piece of paper. Yes, right now, I'll wait, and write down your answers to these questions. What made you decide to learn English? What would you love to do once you can speak English confidently? Who do you want to talk to in English? Keep this paper somewhere visible. On tough days when you feel like giving up, these answers will remind you why you started. Setting realistic expectations. Here's something many teachers won't tell you. Learning English is a journey, not a race. You wouldn't expect to run a marathon without training first, right? The same goes for language learning. Instead of thinking, I need to be fluent in 3 months, let's break it down into smaller, achievable goals. Remember Maria? She started with just 15 minutes of English practice every day. Just 15 minutes, you might ask. Yes, because consistency beats intensity every single time. It's better to practice a little bit every day than to study for 5 hours once a week and burn yourself out. Chapter 2. Building your English foundation. Starting with sounds. You know what's cool about English? It's like building with Lego blocks. Once you understand the basic pieces, you can create amazing things. Let's start with the sounds that make up English words. English has 44 different sounds, phonemes, but don't let that number scare you. We'll tackle them bit by bit. Here's what worked for my student Tom from China. 1. Start with vowel sounds, A, E, I, O, U. 2. Practice them in front of a mirror. 3. Record yourself and compare with native speakers. 4. Focus on just 1 or 2 sounds each week. Try this fun exercise. Pick a sound, let's say the TH in think, and make it your sound of the day. Every time you practice English that day, pay extra attention to words with that sound. It's like having a secret mission. Essential vocabulary, your first 100 words. Want to know something amazing? Just 100 words make up about 50% of all English conversations. Isn't that incredible? Let's start with these high-frequency words that you'll use every day. Here's how to make learning these words fun. Create a story using 5 new words each day. Label items around your house with sticky notes. Play the categories game. I'll teach you in a minute. The categories game is simple. Pick a category, like things in my kitchen, and try to list as many English words as you can in 60 seconds. Play this with friends or challenge yourself to beat your previous score. Chapter 3. Making English part of your daily life. Creating your English environment. Now, here's where the magic happens. Instead of treating English as a subject you study, let's make it part of your everyday life. Think of it like learning to swim. You need to get in the water. My student Sarah from Japan transformed her life into an English zone with these simple tricks. Changed her phone language to English. Started following English-speaking YouTubers who share her hobbies. Put on English music while doing housework. Started a daily English journal, even if it's just 1 sentence. You might be thinking, But I won't understand everything. That's perfectly okay. The goal isn't to understand every single word, it's to train your brain to feel comfortable with English sounds and patterns. Finding your English learning style. Here's something crucial that many people overlook. Everyone learns differently. Some people are visual learners, others learn best by doing, and some need to hear things to remember them. Let's figure out what works best for you. Try these different approaches and see which ones feel most natural. 1. Visual learning. Watch English movies with subtitles. Draw pictures to remember new words. Create mind maps for vocabulary themes. 2. Auditory learning. Listen to English podcasts. Sing English songs. Karaoke is great practice. Record yourself speaking and listen back. 3. Kinesthetic learning. Act out new vocabulary words. Use flashcards you can touch and move around. Learn while walking or moving. Chapter 4. Building your confidence. Dealing with the fear of making mistakes. Let me share something personal with you. Every single successful English learner I know has made thousands of mistakes. Yes, thousands. And you know what? Those mistakes were their stepping stones to fluency. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall down hundreds of times, but do they give up? No. They laugh, get back up, and try again. That's exactly how we should approach learning English. Here's what worked for Carlos, one of my students from Mexico. He started a mistake journal where he wrote down mistakes he learned from. He celebrated his mistakes as learning opportunities. He practiced with other beginners who shared the same fears. He reminded himself that even native speakers make mistakes. Your first conversations in English. Ready for something exciting? It's time to have your first real English conversation. I know, your heart might be racing just thinking about it. But I've got some tricks to make it less scary. 1. Start with script conversations. Practice common dialogues, ordering coffee, asking for directions. Role-play these situations with friends or in front of a mirror. Record yourself practicing these conversations. 2. Use conversation shortcuts. Learn phrases like "Could you repeat that?" Practice saying "I'm learning English. Could you speak slowly?" Remember, it's okay to use gestures and body language. Chapter 5. Creating your study routine. Making time for English. I don't have time to study English. I hear this all the time, but here's the secret. You don't need huge blocks of time. You need smart, consistent practice. Let's look at how Maria organized her busy schedule. Morning routine. Listen to English podcast while getting ready, 10 minutes. Review 5 new vocabulary words during breakfast, 5 minutes. Read 1 short English news article on the bus, 10 minutes. Evening routine. Watch 1 YouTube video in English, 15 minutes. Write 3 sentences about your day, 5 minutes. Review the day's new words before bed, 5 minutes. See? That's 50 minutes of English practice without dramatically changing your schedule. Using technology wisely. In today's world, we have amazing tools at our fingertips. Let's use them smartly. Here are some tech-savvy tips that won't overwhelm you. 1. Language learning apps. Start with 1 app and use it consistently. Set daily reminders. Join the app's community features. 2. Social media for learning. Follow English learning accounts on Instagram. Join English learning groups on Facebook. Watch English TikToks. Yes, really. 3. Online resources. Use free websites for grammar practice. Find English learning YouTube channels. Try language exchange apps. Chapter 6. Understanding grammar without the headaches. Making grammar fun. Yes, it's possible. Okay, I can almost hear you groaning at the word grammar. But what if I told you grammar could actually be fun? Let's look at it differently. Grammar is like the recipe for cooking up perfect English sentences. Instead of memorizing rules, try these approaches. 1. Learn through stories. Read simple stories and notice how sentences are built. Create your own stories using grammar patterns. Make funny sentences to remember rules. 2. Use visual grammar. Draw timelines for different tenses. Create colorful mind maps. Use pictures to remember prepositions. Starting with the basics. Let's focus on the grammar you'll use every day. 1. Simple present tense. Use it for facts. I like pizza. Daily routines. I wake up at 7. General truths. The sun rises in the east. 2. Simple past tense. Talk about finished actions. I watched a movie. Previous experiences. I visited London. Past events. It rained yesterday. Remember, grammar is a tool to help you communicate, not a test to make you feel bad. Chapter 7. Building your vocabulary. Smart ways to remember new words. Forget boring word list. Let's make vocabulary learning fun and effective. 1. Word families. Learn related words together. Create word webs. Use association techniques. 2. Context learning. Learn words in phrases. Create personal example sentences. Use new words in your daily journal. 3. Memory techniques. Create silly stories with new words. Use rhymes and songs. Make personal connections. Vocabulary learning games. Here are some games you can play alone or with friends. 1. The description game. Pick an object. Try to describe it using only English. Add one new detail each round. 2. Word chain. Say a word. Next person says a word starting with the last letter. Keep going until you can't think of more words. Chapter 8. Making progress visible. Tracking your journey. It's important to see how far you've come. Here's how to track your progress. 1. Keep a learning journal. Write down new words and phrases. Record your small victories. Note questions for later. 2. Regular check-ins. Take progress photos of your journal. Record yourself speaking every month. Keep samples of your writing. Celebrating small wins. Every step forward deserves celebration. Here are some milestones to watch for. Your first full conversation in English. Understanding song lyrics without subtitles. Making your first joke in English. Reading your first English book. Chapter 9. When things get tough. Dealing with plateaus. Everyone hits plateaus, times when it feels like you're not making progress. Here's how to handle them. 1. Change your routine. Try new learning methods. Find different practice partners. Explore new topics. 2. Remember your why. Look back at your initial goals. Celebrate how far you've come. Set new, exciting challenges. Staying motivated. Motivation isn't something you find, it's something you create. Try these motivation boosters. 1. Connect with other learners. Join online English learning communities. Find a study buddy. Share your progress on social media. 2. Make it personal. Set weekly mini-goals. Reward yourself for achievements. Keep a wins journal. Chapter 10. Your next steps. Planning for success. Now that you have all these tools, let's make a plan for your first month of English learning. Week 1. Set up your English environment. Choose your core study materials. Start with basic greetings and introductions. Week 2. Begin daily vocabulary practice. Start your English journal. Try your first English conversation. Week 3. Introduce grammar practice. Expand your listening activities. Join an online learning community. Week 4. Review and adjust your routine. Celebrate your progress. Set goals for the next month. Your personal action plan. Before we wrap up, Let's create your personal action plan. 1. Choose your daily non-negotiables. 10 minutes of listening practice. 5 new vocabulary words. 1 English conversation, even with yourself. 2. Set up your support system. Find learning partners. Join online communities. Schedule regular progress checks. 3. Prepare for challenges. Plan how to handle busy days. Have backup study materials ready. Know who to ask for help. Final thoughts. Remember, learning English is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, victories and challenges, but each step takes you closer to your goals. You're not just learning a language, you're opening doors to new opportunities, friendships, and experiences. As you start this journey, remember, every expert was once a beginner. Progress isn't always visible, but it's happening. You're capable of more than you think. The English-speaking world is waiting to welcome you. Are you ready to take your first step? Remember, I believe in you, and this amazing journey starts right now. Let's begin.